What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So there's a few reasons why you may be here today. One, you subscribed to me and I posted a new video, so you're here. I think that's fairly unlikely since there's not a ton of you. Two, you're searching for a badass upgrade to your OBS Ford that's fully bolt-on. Or three, you've already bought said badass upgrade for your OBS Ford and you're looking for an install video. If it's either of the last two, love that you're here. Drop me a subscribe, hit a like, drop a comment, do whatever, do a song and dance. I don't really care. But we're gonna walk through one of the coolest things that I have going now from JC Customs. He's a buddy of mine. We started working on this project that I am beyond freaking stoked about. And this is his, I shouldn't say what he has developed, with my help, I guess, whatever. A behind the front bumper hidden winch mount that is fully bolt-on for OBS Fords. This is gonna go on an F-250. It'll go on F-250, F-350. If you're here in the early stages, working on some more, but fully bolt-on winch mount. This is gonna hold a 12,000 pound Warn winch that I have downstairs and gonna be super freaking badass. So we're gonna work through everything from, I'm gonna paint it all, do all that nonsense, but what we're really gonna do is we're gonna work on, once we get all of it ready, I'll show you how to install it. And trust me, we're gonna learn together on it because I have not done it. Hell, I haven't even seen it yet besides when FedEx decided to throw the box around and tear the corner of the box. I think it was UPS. I don't know. They're both guilty in this instance. So let's get into it. So I've always wanted a winch on my F-250, but I am not a fan of those big gaudy aftermarket bumpers. I've always wanted a hidden one. If you follow him on Instagram, Parker White, Bronco 88, he has a super slick behind the bumper winch mount on his grandpa's 88 Bronco. Always had my gears turning on kind of how to do it and then how to truly mass produce it, quote unquote, so everyone out there could, do it there if they had fab abilities or not. So that's kind of what we did. We bounced some ideas off each other. He had a truck on hand, and oh my God, I'm stoked. And so we just developed it. So it is slick. You got a hardware box, so it's got all the hardware in here that we're gonna need. All of it in there, from spacers to it's got everything. Stoked on that. And then the coup de grace here is your winch mount. So check that out. All laser done. It's there. This guy's logo on it. And really, really freaking beautiful. I mean, holy cow, the welds are gorgeous on this thing. And man, I am stoked on that. That is gorgeous. That is gonna be unfreaking believably cool. Check that out. I'm gonna get it hung up here so we can paint it and get it ready to be out in the elements. All right, so we've got really just the three parts. That's all it is. It's the plate and then the two brackets that go to the frame. I've got them all hung up here with some rope because that's kind of white trash I am. Just acetoned everything down so everything's nice and clean. No residual oil on there. All clean on the backside. Real nice and pretty, as you can tell. I guess I could swing it that way. Probably easier for you to see. But just freaking gorgeous, guys. Really, really stoked about this. So I'm going to grab some of my PFI Metalize, lay down some base coats here. It is the week of Thanksgiving, so it is getting cold quick here in Missouri, or I guess as cold as it gets. Nah, that's a lie. It's starting to get cold, so I need to get some good base coats down here. So let me spray all this, and we'll check it out. All right, so I'm not gonna touch it now, but we've got a few good coats down here. Gonna let this dry overnight, get everything put away. It's gonna turn cold here. I don't know what that is. It's gonna turn cold here real quick. It's gonna be down in the 30s, highs in 30s this week. Right now, it's 68 in the garage, so I'm good here with paint. It'll dry overnight. There will be a few touch-up spots here to do with where the ropes are hitting, but nothing much. I'm real happy with how that laid down. Coverage is freaking phenomenal. That PFI Metalize is just the cat's meow. It's nice and shiny now, but it'll dry out perfect matte, just like OEM, and it's tough as nails. So anyway, I love the stuff. I have zero affiliation with them. I'll put a link below for it. Whatever, do what you want. The real star of the show here is this, and I am super stoked. The fit, finish, welds on this is freaking awesome. I mean, legitimately, it is gorgeous. And man, I'm stoked. Yeah, so we're gonna let this dry, and we're gonna start throwing this on here once it's all dry, and we're gonna rip the front bumper off the truck and start mocking it up and getting it bolted in. I'll see you then. All right, what's up, guys? So it's Black Friday, and it is cold here in Missouri. Where I don't know, it's midday. It's about 30 out. So good news is my phone won't overheat as I shoot video. Bad news is my hands are gonna freaking hurt. But we got everything painted earlier in the week. Everything's dried out, ready to go. I'm gonna start diving into it. We got to rip the front bumper off the truck first, as well as the light bar and all that. I think I'm gonna pull it off all in one unit. But let's check out. Everything's painted. Let's see how it turned out, and then we'll start tearing into the truck. So as you see, it finished out super freaking nice. This is why I like that Metalize so much. So just for everyone's info, this will mount to your bumper mount, and I think it sandwiches in between there. I'll walk through it all. These are your brackets that mount on the side here, and this mounts to your frame. So it's gonna go like that, and so sandwich right like this, mounts into your frame. This mounts onto sandwiches on there. So you got 3 bolts there. Same deal on the other side. So super sturdy mount. Obviously you've got all the braces. This is just, alignment holes for him when he was making it. Got all the brace underneath it, so it's gonna be super strong there. And there's all my hardware. So let me go rip this bumper off. So honestly, I don't think you guys really need to see this. I might shoot video and just B-roll this. I don't know. Bumper comes off with 4 bolts mounted underneath. Real easy to get to without a winch plate. I think it's going to be a little more difficult with a winch plate on there. For everyone who wants to know, this light bracket, light mount comes from Baja Racing Shop in Mexico. I get the questions constantly. JC Customs and I may actually make one of these because the guy in Mexico is brutally hard to get a hold of. I actually had to send someone down there to go pick it up because I just couldn't get it, worked out. It's not. I'm not trying to talk smack on him or anything. He's a good dude, but I know he's busy doing other stuff. He only gets like $150 for one of these, so it's not, I think, a huge priority of his. But anyway, everyone always asks me where this comes from. Anyway, Project X lights. They're actually going to probably get pulled off here pretty soon for some American-made lights that I'm real stoked about, but that's another story. Let's rip this front bumper off. Well, I can't find my gloves, so whatever. I mean, such is life, I guess. You're probably gonna give me shit for using my impact sockets, but it's fine. I got these new RS wrenches here, or ratchets here. They seem really nice, but I haven't used them yet, so I'm breaking them in all at once. So I've got the 4 nuts off, and it's just dangling there right now. And we're gonna try to lift her off. The good thing is with this, it should just pop right out. With the bumper off, it's time that we can start kind of mocking up this winch plate. The kit comes with everything you need, obviously, to put this winch plate on there, mount a winch, do the whole 9 yards, including these spacers. So the cool thing about this kit is it was designed around the original truck that he had in person was a truck that had an intercooler in it, so an F350 that had an intercooler in it. So this should fit with most all intercoolers. Now, you know, obviously trucks are different, mounting's different. Some are fatter, some are thinner, you know, whatever. But that's what it was designed around. Mine does not have an intercooler, so not necessarily something I'm gonna be in the way of. But these 2 spacers will have to space your bumper just a hair out so that so that the winch clears. Anyway, that's kind of it. I think if I slide mine back, I'll be okay. I've got a dent in my bumper though, so I'm gonna have to beat that out. But let's go through what we have here. So here's your spacers. You've got your smaller bolts here. You should have 6 of them, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are gonna go in these holes to mount your side brackets to your winch plate or vice versa. Then you've got your bolts that go, your bumper bolts, and then the bolts that go through the side of your frame and mount here to the side of your frame. So that's what we're gonna have, all of these, and it should all mount up really, I don't want to say easily, but pretty quickly. So what we're going to first start with, though, is we're going to grab a couple bolts, and we're just going to really loosely throw them in through there so that you can kind of make this one unit. All right, guys? This is just so you can start getting it fitted in the truck. So it should, I'm going to throw it in the middle here, because you fit this while it's on the truck, guys. All right. What I did was get these snug so there's still some wiggle room in them, so you can get it mounted perfect there. Because this is what we're gonna do first, is we're gonna get these side brackets flush to the frame rail and mounted through with some of our larger bolts here. And yeah, we'll get all of that going. There should be 2 that are the same size. These 2 will go through your frame rail, through the side and into your frame rail. So let's go try to get this kind of mounted up on the truck, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so if I'm being honest, I think this winch plate is actually heavier than the front bumper altogether, which obviously is a good thing. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put it right there, hold it up with our knees, and then these, I don't know if you can see them, but these side bolts, these side channels here. So these side channels here, slotted holes, are going to fit into that mounting hole, and then there's one on both sides that they're both going to fit into. So we're going to slide a bolt through there. Grab a washer and a nut for the other side. So this is a little precarious, but again, I've got a 4-inch lift on this truck, and it's still absolutely doable. I'm sitting on a 5-gallon bucket right now, and making it work, even though I'm dropping shit. I'm just gonna get this in here finger tight. Okay, that side's in. Now I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Slide it over. I'm gonna let it hang here since I dropped the washer and hope the whole thing doesn't fall. Okay, and back over to this side. And now I'm on the driver's side rail. And we will finger tight this one. All right, guys, so it is just hanging there right now. Here, let's get you up there. So it's just hanging there right now. So we're gonna get this kind of centered in there. I think it needs to come a little this way. I'm gonna line it. I believe that's dead center on the truck, truthfully. Yeah, that goes right up and down the middle. So I'm gonna kind of use that support as my midline. And as you can see, it's just hanging there, but there's the nut in there for what we need. It's not going to focus, but now it will. No, it won't, just kidding. So it's right there. And then we got the other one on the other side. And we should be good to go. All right, so we've got the side ones ran in here right now, just floating. Again, this is not bolted on to anything tight. I've just put in 2 of these bumper bolts just so far, so I had it easier. That's the next step, is to get all these bumper bolts in, and this isn't to tighten them down yet. This is just to hold it to the level you're gonna need it to. Sorry, you're gonna want it to be at. So let me finish tossing these on and just hand tighten them real quick. All right, so I've got all 1, 2, 6, 10, 12 bolts or whatever it is in right now. The bottom plates are all loose. Bumper bolts loose, side plates, everything's loose, just kind of mocked up. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift this all the way up, essentially. So it is up to its essentially darn near max height. And I'm gonna run on these front bumper bolts to pull it snug forward. And this is just part of the mock-up process, guys. And while I'm doing that, I'm also pushing this side bracket all the way over. And then I'll go in here and I'll hit the side bracket to get it fully tied in. All right, so now that it's sitting up here, I've kind of got these side bolts tightened in. What I'm gonna do next, now that it's sitting where I want it to, I'm gonna run these bumper bolts in and tighten it down. These are gonna come back out, so this isn't like they've got to be perfect, but I'm gonna run them in, and then we're gonna go back underneath, and I think that's dead on where I want it. And then we're gonna go back in and we're gonna tighten all of these up completely tight. Get them all nice and tight. That'll lock it in right where it needs to be. So let me get these tightened up. So while you're tightening these sides, you wanna make sure that it doesn't pull away from the frame rail at all, and that it stays nice and lined up and tight there. Just so you don't have any issue with you're pulling frame rails in. You don't want that. You want this to be mounted solidly to the frame rail and solidly here, so it's not pulling your frame in. So that's what you're focusing on while you're doing that. And then we're gonna go in here, we're gonna get these all tightened up. All right, so we've got side bolts cinched down tight, bottom plate completely tight, and it is, as you see, super solid. I mean, I'm 200 pounds jumping on that. It's not going anywhere. So this is going to be nice and sturdy. That's because he has all these brackets underneath, nice and tight here, or all the support. He has one, two, three, four, five coming across, plus the L bend in the back. This thing is rock solid. So hang tight and we'll get to the next step. All right, so you're probably thinking you missed a step, and you didn't. I just threw my winch on off camera. Warn VR Evo 12S, so synthetic. I pulled the control pack off because the control pack's gonna have to go under the hood due to the clearance, and I swapped around the free spool lever just so it swung backwards instead of front. That comes down to really the next step. You've gotten the side bolts bolted in nice and tight and secure. You got the bottom bolts of the bracket, the 6 there, nice and torqued down and secure. So everything's rock solid. You've pulled out the bumper bolts, and this is where really the finesse comes in. So you're gonna be moving this up and down, trying to get it, to fit just perfect between the bumper, how you want it to fit, make sure your bumper gaps on the sides are good. So truthfully, you're going to be pulling the bumper off, loosening stuff up, lifting it up, and you're going to be moving that around quite a bit. It's just part of it. But it does fit really well. What I had to do is I had to do a little bit of trimming on the bumper, and I'll show you what I did in order to get all that to fit, because this right now is locked in exactly where I want it. I've got the winch fit perfect, and so let's take a look at the bumper. So here on my bumper, sitting down, upside down, what I ended up doing is I cut this bottom piece off, as you see right here, trimmed it so the bottom of that winch plate, which fits really tight, would clear that. And so you actually see on here, to get the bumper all the way back, at one point, that winch plate did come in contact with the bumper. You see those marks. This is due to a dent in the bumper. I beat the shit out of that and beat that out. So that I trimmed off, and then this is for the free spool lever. Free spool lever. Depending on your winch, you may or may not have to cut that. I assume most will, unless you have a remote free spool like the Warn Platinums have. But that is where we're at right now. We're ready, truthfully, to throw this bumper on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the fair lead mount in. It's going to go right about right here. And we'll flip it over and I'll show you how that is. I'm going with all factor 55 stuff. So let's flip it over and I'll show you what I'm doing there. All right, so what you see here is I actually already took a hole saw and trimmed this edge. It did get away from me right here a little bit, which kind of frustrates me, but that's my own fault. And this will fit that factor 55 dead on perfect. So it's gonna sit there, sit nice and flush. It's gonna come, the cable's gonna come out right in line there where it needs to be. And it's gonna be really nice. So I'm gonna drill my holes here, so I got that. And then I've got to cut my channel out here so it's all, so obviously the cable can come through. So I'm gonna hammer that, get onto that right now, and we should be good to go. All right, well, I've got the fair lead mounted up just perfect there. There's a little booger in there, but that's not bad. If I really want to, I'll pull one of these out of a junkyard to really get it perfectly clean. It's got a few license plate holes in it anyway, or I don't know what it is. But anyway, nice mounted up, nice and solid. Next step is to throw it back on the truck. And guys, we're done. So let's move on over. All right. So again, got to pull the winch cable through the fair lead. I'll put the factor 55 hook on there, but everything else is bolted up, locked in just where it needs to be. We've got, again, free spool, engagement there, handle there. That's all tied in. We'll throw this up there. We'll get the bolts for the bumper put through. torque it down after we get everything lifted where we need it to be. And then I'm gonna run the cables. And again, I think I'm gonna run it up and into the under hood. I gotta find somewhere to put the the control box. It is easiest to have your grill off. It only takes like 5 screws and then it just pops right out. So definitely I'd say is almost a must have to in order to get this done. Let me grab the bumper. All right, so I got it just hung up here. It's completely loose. I actually don't even want to touch it or it might fall. It won't fall. So what I end up doing here, because I don't have a welder, so I can't tack these in place. You could do some 2-sided tape. That might work. Otherwise, tack them in. What I end up doing is I put 2 bolts in on one side so I can swing the other side out, fish the plate in, and then do the opposite on the other side. It's a bear, but I'm a one-man show here, so that's how it has to work. All right, so again, with my being by myself ingenuity, I've got 2 of my super tall jack stands. So both sides are completely level now. I wedged them actually with a piece of MDF too, just to get the perfect height that I wanted. And now all spacers are in. I can crank this thing down and it'll be perfectly level with good fitment side to side. Well guys, there you have it. It's again, this is not like a 30-minute bolt-on project. You do have to take some time. You have to make sure you level everything out, get everything fit perfect. But guys, this is the only kit out there. It's the only kit that exists for this. And I think that's pretty freaking cool. And it is high quality, and damn it, it is nice. I'm super, super impressed. Really, really happy to get this out there and get you guys to offer or get something in the market for all you guys like this. JC Customs is just an awesome place to work with. Really, really glad that it was able to come through. And, thanks for watching. I'm going to end up getting the winch buttoned up and wired in. Not something you guys need to see. But man, this is really cool.